Hello, welcome to Star Wars Spelt Out. I'm your host, Josh Chapman, and today, one of my favourite things, first-time guests, people who haven't been on the show before, a guy who I think I made him rush in his car to get here and drive through the storm or do something to get on here to make the time zones work, but he's here now. Chris Ryons, how you going, man?
Good, man. How you doing? Thanks for having me, man.
Oh, my pleasure, my pleasure. Now, we're living in different worlds. Up is down, left is right, summer is winter, morning is night. We've been trying to get this happening for a week or two, and it's just, time zones and snow's a bit crazy, but you were good enough to sort of, hustle home to do this, so I appreciate that.
Oh, no problem.
Now, obviously, like, Broaxium's your baby. It's your thing.
Yeah.
Which is great, but the thing that I know you most for, the most famous to me for, is you hanging around with those idiots that I know called the Blue Bantha Milk guys.
Those crazy Aussies I know. Yep.
So that, Matt and Sean, who are good buddies of mine as well. We're both from the same town. We're both all Melbourne people as well. But how did you even get involved with those guys?
This was back during the pandemic. Matt had hit me up to do a voice because he was doing the AI back when people were still okay with AI.
Yeah,
doing the AI scripts, and I think it was episode 10 was our first one, and he wanted me to come in and do a couple of voices. So I'm like, yeah, absolutely, I'll do that. And then that, and they were like the progenitor for us as far as getting out into for Broaxium at least. Getting out and meeting all the other content creators. Like, this was like our first time really dealing or interacting with different content creators, and it was an awesome experience. And we did that. Like, me and Dan from Broaxium, we did that, and then they liked us and wanted us to come back. Like, they were doing a solo. They were doing their version of Solo too, and I was like, well, I do a pretty decent Lando Calrissian.
Very decent.
And they were like, thank you. And so they were like, oh, we'll think about it. I'm like, okay,
everybody's got a Lando. Like, what's so special? All right,
So so I came in and did that, and then from there we did these Lando bits and whatnot that they wanted to do, and I wound up joining them up for that. So yeah, it was a lot of fun. They had me say some of the. It's like they saved the worst stuff for me to say, and I couldn't do anything about it because I didn't know. Like, I was reading the script for the first time whenever I was doing those Lando shorts. So I had no idea.
It was like you might put your own reality show or something. You know what I mean? Like, you your own, like, they just put you in this reality show and then the thing is also is like it started off being like a voice, and like you said, you do a great Billy D, and then they're going, oh well, how would you feel about wearing a wig and putting a cape on?
That I didn't mind. I didn't mind doing that at all. But it was it just when Matt, it could tell because they're so evil. When those guys would write stuff and they just give me the absolute worst stuff, I'm like, my mom is going to see this.
Yeah, she's pretty proud most of the time too.
But it was a lot of fun still.
Yeah, it's quite funny because I know those guys quite well, and it was just similar because Matt reached out when he started up just because we were locals, like local people, local scene, all that kind of stuff. There aren't stacks of content creators down here, and he just sort of started talking about the AI stuff, and you go, oh yeah, that's quite fascinating. And then talk about having a bad reputation these days with AI is just and they've gone, oh man, we've got to reinvent the wheel now. We can't just now it's just it becomes a shorthand for laziness as opposed to using it to create something quite cool and
right.
And it was the craziness that made it fun because you didn't know what you were going to get.
Absolutely. And AI just kept getting better and better to the point where it's like, well, this isn't
fun
work
anymore.
But it was but it was that, and it was of course like a lot of the backlash with the AI art and Midjourney and all those other programs and stuff like that. So they were like, let's change up the the format and everything.
Yeah. So, and that's the cool thing is like those guys are creative. They work on their feet. They're like, well, we just move on to the next thing. We've already gone on from there. Did you just happen to have that cape lying around, or was that going? Oh, I'll grab
No, it's just funny. It's sitting like right over there. It's always on standby just in case.
Yeah, you never know.
No, at my job, my boss cosplayed as Lando for like one of the conventions that came to Philadelphia, and I was like, "Hey, man, you mind if I borrow that?" He's like, "Yeah, sure, go ahead." I'm like, all right,
I'll give it back one day.
I'll give it back at some point. Yeah, Monday, 2025.
Yeah, exactly. It's pretty.
Any given Monday.
Yeah, you can have it back when you really want it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not a. Would you wear that to a celebration or something, or do you
I brought it to Anaheim.
Yep.
I wore it on the balcony of my hotel room, and that was it. It was too hot. That thing is really heavy.
Yeah.
And there's nothing that fastens it to me, so it would be falling off every 2 seconds. So I was like, this is a bad idea.
Yeah, I think we crossed paths at Anaheim, sort of like, I think I know that. But it wasn't. We didn't really hang out or anything. I think we knew each other that well. But it was sort of, there's like 1 million people to see at Celebration as it is. Like, I hopefully at the next one we'll get to hang out proper. But it was hot. Like even we were even from Australia. We're like, this is hot. and they're like, hey, you want to eat? Get out in the sun and eat. Go stand outside.
No, this is terrible. Why would you make me do that?
Yeah,
those trucks were nice. They had some very nice food trucks.
Yeah, they were good.
That one row, that was pretty awesome.
We were in London for the London one last year now, yeah, and the venue wasn't as nice as the Anaheim one. It's just a bit more cold. It's fine, but they actually had some huge indoor food bits and a bar and a beer vending machines, and so it was actually to get food was a lot easier. It wasn't as picturesque, but it was actually like you could pretty much walk up any time and get fed right away, which was quite nice. But nice. Yeah, what about Japan? Is it a goal? Is it a dream?
It is a dream. I went to Japan 25 years ago now. And I would love to go back, but it's financially not in the cards.
Yeah, it's tricky, isn't it?
Yeah, this one, like it'd be, what is it? It's at least 10 G's for like the no. Yeah. It's probably like 10K, maybe a little bit more. To like really get around and do what I want to do and all that stuff, and that's outside of plane ticket and hotel.
Yeah, if you want to get there and like, especially if you've been there before, you're like, well, I can't just go and then leave because I know all the cool stuff that I want to do when I'm over there. And
I do have friends over there, so I don't know. I wouldn't ask to stay in any of their houses or anything like that. I don't think that would even be a thing. But it would be great to see some old friends while I'm over there. But it's not in the cards, unfortunately.
It's tricky for us as Australians because it's the closest we'll ever get to one in Australia because it's the same time zone. It's still the actual flight is still 9 or 10 hours, and I think Melbourne to LA is 12 or 13 or something, so it's not like it's a 4-hour flight or a 3-hour flight, but it's the same time zone, which makes a big deal. So it means you're not getting there. I think when we went to Chicago Celebration, I was up for 34 hours or something straight, I think it was, because I left in the morning, flew, got in the morning in Chicago, was up all day, and then of course we were up all night. Yeah. That first night before Celebration, everybody's up all night. Yeah. And it's like, all right. And then you got to get up again because it's like, the Rise of Skywalker panel's on at 9 or something. You've got to get there or whatever it was.
Were you able to go to the panel?
Yeah,
itself?
we got the first.
I'm so jealous.
So Chicago, we were really good. Chicago, we got pretty much everything. I think we got Mandalorian, Rise of Skywalker, Phantom Menace. We got everything. But then Anaheim, 1 or 2. But then London, we got nothing in London. So it is the luck of the draw.
Yeah, I think for Chicago, we got what did we get? The Phantom Menace. We got. Oh man, what was the other thing we got? Galaxy's Edge.
Oh yeah,
I think that was it.
Yeah,
Rise of Skywalker one, I was so upset. I was a pouty child because we did not get Rise of Skywalker.
Better than the movie.
But we still, yeah, we still had a great experience because we were like, in the one huge area, like, when the dealer's room where everyone was.
Oh,
at.
yeah, on the floor. Yeah,
so we were like surrounded by all these fans, and it was still like it was an amazing experience doing that.
Yeah. Oh, look, you have a great time regardless. And that was the thing. Like London, like I said, we didn't really get into anything, but we still had an awesome time. And I used just, like you said, you spent time in Japan. I lived in London for years. So I hadn't been back since I moved away. So it was like, we're all going to this pub that I liked. So everybody, and we're all going to go do this and this and this. So yeah, we're trying to, we want to do Japan. It's a little bit cheaper to fly from Australia. So it ain't over till it's over. That is the plan. So we'll see. We'll see how we go. I mean, I wish one day.
Did you get tickets already?
Sorry,
you got your ticket. You got your tickets, like just in case.
As in plane tickets
for Japan. Did the celebration tickets go on sale?
No, not on sale yet. No. No. So I don't know what to expect. It's one of those weird things because the last few years it's been like Taylor Swift tickets. It's like everybody just gets on hours before and and just buys them regardless. And I think a lot of that has got to do with how they've got the returns platform and everything now. So people just buy them even if they can't make it. Like, well, at least I know I can offload it and I can get rid of it, which is fair enough. But it does mean that for the last 3 celebrations, especially in Australia, it's like 2 a.m. when they go on sale. So we've got like a little gang here going, all right, everybody, get on your laptops at 2 a.m. Can anybody get in? Can we all, we're all just trying to. So I don't know if Japan will be the same or whether there'll be a drop off just because, I think there'll be less Americans and probably Europeans who go, but all the local, Asia's a big place. They haven't had one for a while, so
I'm pretty sure it's still going to be an amazing. I know there's a lot of the content creators who are going who make good money off of content creation, so they can set that money aside for this sort of thing.
That'd be nice.
Like Alex and Molly, they're definitely going.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, they're definitely going. I would love to go. Just eat some okonomiyaki again,
yum.
And just
what's the Japanese food in Philly like? Once more. Can you get decent Japanese food in Philly?
Let's see. Yeah. There are a few ramen spots that are there.
It's not the same, is it?
At least near my job. No, but it's still good stuff.
Yeah.
There's a spot that's across from my job called Taco Ramen.
Oh, okay. Together at last.
Trust me. Yeah, it's a fusion you never knew you wanted, but it's actually really good.
Oh, awesome!
It's actually really good. So yeah,
nice one. Well, we never know. Like, it's still a long way away. It's our plan is to go, and I think a lot of the Australians are keen, just because, like I said, it's the closest we'll get to an Australian one. We've definitely got the facilities here to do it, but it's just so far. We're not getting. Billy D on a plane for 24 hours to Melbourne. No, it's not going to happen. It'll be, if they do it, it'll be a lot of people from Attack of the Clones because it was all shot in Sydney. So it'll be all full of all the Australian actors from Attack of the Clones. Everybody, here's Joel Edgerton or somebody like that. If they do Australian celebration, I hope you like Attack. It'll have to be an Attack of the Clones anniversary year or something like that, so they can.
There may be a lot of via satellite kind of thing, over Zoom or something.
Yeah. Oh, look, it's
so
be
I can
fun.
definitely see that happening.
So how's your Star Wars life going at the moment? Feeling good? I'm loving the background here. I know that we're not filming this, but you're quite similar setup to me. You got the Black Series sitting on the thing. I can't really swivel. I don't know. Can I swivel? I'm just going to swivel my camera there. You can sort of see the shelf on there.
I see it that is busy. I like it.
It's very busy. It's bursting. It needs an audit, really.
Same. So yeah, I've got some Black Series stuff. There's a lot of I have this whole wall. It's for my background, but it's all comics. It's all Star Wars comics. Mm-hmm. But I have some Black Series stuff hanging up in front of some of them. Got my Darksaber right there. But yeah. And I've had these drapes are part of a bedroom set when I was a child.
Yeah.
From back when when it first came out. But that's the only thing that's left. I can't find the bed sheets. I can't find the blankets. It's all lost to time.
Have you got much of your originals? Because I think you and I, without giving away how old we exactly are, but I think we're roughly the same age, roughly the same.
I'll be 49 next month.
Oh right, yeah. Well, I'm 45, so yeah, we're roughly we're of that vintage.
Yeah.
We saw Return of the Jedi
Yeah.
at the cinema. All that kind of.
Oh yes, yes.
Do you have much of your original stuff apart from the bed sheets? Have you got any of the figures or anything left?
I have the figures. I remember I had this trunk in at the house that I grew up in, and it had my Millennium Falcon, my Y-wing, that Star Destroyer that looked nothing like a Star Destroyer, the Land Speeder, all the vehicles.
Yep.
And I hadn't been home for a while. My mom had moved and had everything everything out of the garage just gutted and thrown out. And that trunk was one of the things that went.
Oh no!
So it's gone. I don't blame her. I love my mom.
Yeah, and some idiot YouTuber has found it on their stupid YouTube. They're just like, it's got like "Find of the Century" on the thumbnail. And they go like, we just found, it was in a thing being passed through 3 other garage sales, and we found it. And look at all this stuff. And you're like, that's mine. That's my Star Destroyer.
I betcha that. Oh, there is one thing that I do have still, and that's my AT-AT. I still have my AT-AT. That's what I call it. AT-AT, I understand.
Yeah, no, I do AT-AT.
That's my AT-AT. AT-AT. Yeah, I still have that. I think that's it.
Yep. Yeah, I don't have much. I've got about three or four Kenners, and that's about it. And
yeah, I still have still got a good chunk of those.
Yeah. No, ours got, they just ended up in sand pits, and they got played till disintegration, basically.
Oh yeah. Mine are not. Like I can still put them on eBay and probably sell them, but they are not like in pristine condition. No, I played the crap out of those.
Yeah.
figures.
Oh, look, I keep thinking this might be the year that I, have a run at it, getting a set, doing that kind of thing. But I can't, because I've got so few. I can't bring myself to start from scratch. Like I almost need to be able to get a bulk of. And it doesn't have to be everything, but like give me a good base of the common stuff, and then I'll work around trying to scout the harder to find stuff, because I just don't want to have to go, well, I've just got to get a Crix Maydeen or something, you know what I mean? Like it's waste time, but if I want one, I can probably get one for $10, $15, but then I'm going to pay $20 on it. So that was all of a sudden $30 for Crix Maydeen to get it delivered. Like, well, I should be able to find him in a bag for $5 or something like that. So I might have to, I'd like to do it.
I think the only thing I'd want to get back from my old collection would be the Land Speeder, because that's always like my favorite vehicle is Land Speeder, and the Millennium Falcon. Like not any of the upgraded ones that have come out since. I need
that one,
the one from 70, from 70, 79 or 80, something like that. I need that one.
Yeah. We never had any. I had a cousin who had way more vehicles than I did. I had one of the, like the minifigs, like the ones that are like, hey, you're not getting a big vehicle, you're getting a little.
You can get this.
That little brown thing that had the bit that swung off the back or whatever it was. I don't even know. It wasn't even a ship in Star Wars. What was it? It was like brown, and it had like a. It was like a stand bit that flung up from the bottom. I'm sure I can Google it and find it. But yeah,
but yeah, I think because I had a few like my parents went nuts on Star Wars stuff for me. They knew what I wanted. It was so easy.
Yeah.
But yeah, there were some vehicles and whatnot, that the smaller ones that were never in the movies.
No,
I didn't care.
No,
I was like, well, it said Star Wars on it, so it must be amazing. I'll take it.
Absolutely, absolutely. Yeah, I'd have to have a hunt. Yeah. It's. I'm thinking about it, but there's other things to do. But we'll get to that. So we just finished. Ahsoka actually didn't finish that long ago. It feels like it's been like as soon as the Star Wars thing finishes, you feel like it's forever before the next thing starts, obviously. And we're in this weird thing now where we don't actually know where the next, literally, we don't know when anything's coming out. Do we have a date for anything? Yeah. Like an actual date? We don't know.
So
rough dates.
So I base when I think releases are coming out around the time when Pops are released.
Oh, right.
When Funko Pops are released. And I order for my job, I order a lot of the toys and whatnot. So I'm seeing when a lot of these things are coming out, and I think Acolyte. No, I'm sorry. No, yeah, Acolyte. I think that's going to be in the summer.
Really? Okay. And that's your
Yeah.
summer too. So that's
And
about
yeah,
6 months.
me take that back.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
In my
So like a June, July sort of thing.
yeah, I think like July, August or something like that. I think that's when it's going to drop. I could be wrong. The release dates could change all the time. So.
No. I mean, that's the closest to something solid that I've I haven't had anything that's even remotely close to that. So
that's just a guesstimate. So we'll see. But I will. My thing is, I think 4 series are coming out this year. They should have started on January 1st, as far as I'm concerned, and just let them play out throughout the year. Like, we should have gotten something by now. I'm just greedy. I just want Star Wars all the time. So
yeah, and you're the same as me. We lived through the 15, 17 years of no movies, and then
the dark times. Yep.
the dark times, and then when those prequels.
Well, we did have droids. We had the droids cartoon. Did you get the droids cartoon? Okay.
Yeah, briefly, yeah, but it was on. I wasn't allowed to watch TV before school growing up, so unless it was on a weekend, I wouldn't see it. Like after school, cool, no problem, Yeah. And so it's kind of, we only had like a few channels growing up and stuff, and like the commercial channel. I think one of the commercial channels had droids and Ewoks for a very brief period of time for when it was on. So it was. I'm pretty sure it was like a weekday or a morning. Like 7:30, 8 in the morning. So I saw very little of it. I saw a bit of it. I definitely remember it. But then the ABC, which is like our public broadcaster here, in the afternoons, they would get all the good stuff. They get Astro Boy, they got Voltron, they got Battle of the Planets, they got all the stuff, all the good stuff. So that's the stuff that's nearer to my heart. Just because that was always on. I was allowed to watch that. So, and I think you made some references on obscure cartoons, and I was like, oh yeah, Ulysses, I know that. Lone Star, I know that. Yeah, I knew all that. All that. We all got a bit of a run.
Yeah, and oddly enough, Ulysses 31, I didn't know about that until I'm gonna say I was like 30. I had no idea that was a show until like my best friend had turned me on to it, and I was like, how did I miss this? How did I miss this show? This is educational and action-packed at the same time.
I literally remember barely anything of the show, and I don't even know how many of the episodes, except the song Ulysses. That stuck with me for years. It stuck with me for years. I swear I don't even think I watched an entire episode from start to finish, but for some reason that's, hey, a catchy song is a catchy song. We don't get enough catchy theme songs these days.
It's true. It's true. That's how I feel about the Droids cartoon. That theme song is amazing. Don't ask me anything about the Ewoks one. I couldn't do it.
Yeah. The only thing I remember at the Droids, the only one I remember at the Droids cartoon watching it was there was like 2 other characters. Obviously it was like, R2 and 3PO. And there was an episode where one of the characters, whoever the guys were they had in it, for some reason had a lightsaber and talked about how somebody came and had left a lightsaber there. And didn't come back for it or whatever. And for some reason I was like, is that Luke Skywalker? Are they talking about Luke Skywalker? And that was like the thing that got me more interested because it had a closer connection to the characters I liked.
Yeah.
That's like the only thing I remember from that.
I remember thinking, even as a kid, and I think it came out in 85, so I was 10 years old. And I was like, when does this show take place? Is this after Return of the Jedi? Is this canon? Before? Like, when is yeah. Like, when did this show happen? I'll watch it nowadays. I'm like, when did this happen? But then I'm just like, it's its own thing.
And then you just picture like George Lucas in a meeting being asked and being like, it's not important. It's whatever.
Sorry, we don't.
Well, I was reading my light reading over my summer holiday. I was down at the beach with my family a week or 2 ago, and on my iPad, the internet is terrible down where we are, down the beach. So I was looking on my iPad if I had any like books or anything, ebooks, and I had the Making of Return of the Jedi. Is it J.D. Rinslow or whatever it is? And I think I'd read most of it before, but I was like, I'll just start that up and just as something to read, on a rainy day. And the thing that's the most fascinating about that, all of that, there's a passage in it where it's George Lucas, Larry Kasdan, Richard Marquardt, and maybe somebody else. And they're sort of thrashing out George's script. So he's already picked a director. They're already designing stuff. They're thrashing out the script of what's going to happen. And the way they just throw in and throw out stuff, just like this planet, the Emperor does this. Oh, maybe we won't even do that. Maybe we won't do that. Oh, maybe Leia could do that. Maybe we'll bring Leia in from here. Like, it's still just so by the seat of your trousers. And this is like this is pre-production. It's such a crazy thing where people are so slaving to like, no, there was plans and they did this and it was all, and I'm like, dude, he had the thinnest of ideas.
Yeah, it's like, yeah, let's do this. Let's not. Like as a kid, if I were just listening to them and talking about their ideas, I'm like, oh, like every time they had an idea, then they dropped it. I'm like, oh, that would have been so great. But you gotta let them go. That's called the creative process. I mean, I guess that's what a lot of people don't get. You're going to throw out like a ton of ideas, and this would have been cool, but does it fit?
Yeah.
The story they're going with, does it fit the direction that that this whole thing is leading to? So, and
sometimes a lot of that was going, and they're going, oh, it's going to be too expensive to do that planet. We're just going to throw it. Whether it's a good idea or not, it's just real world things as well. Going like, oh, we don't, we don't have to deal. If we don't do that, we don't have to do this. We don't have to build that. It's just quite fascinating, just like the slaven way that people put some things on Star Wars on, like that's some sort of like gospel that was tried and true, and it's just like, no, it was a bunch of guys in a room trying to figure something out to come up with a story,
right.
and then you shoot it the way you can, and it's performed a certain way, and then it's edited a certain way, and then you just get what you get.
That's how it goes.
That's how it goes.
That's how it goes. And one of the things I love, and this is one thing I was just watching this video on Instagram. This guy named Rick Rubin, and he was talking about. He was talking about how the art is missing from a lot of things. Like we'll take movies for example, as far as a creator should or director, writer, whatever, should make the movie for themselves, and if everyone else just happens to come along and love it too, that's great, because you're getting that person's vision, you're getting that story, instead of trying to check boxes and make write a movie and make a movie in anticipation of what people are going to like.
Yep.
Does that make any sense?
Yeah. Be reactive as well.
Yes.
Rise of Skywalker is a really reactive film. It's got good bits in it, but it's very oh, maybe we shouldn't have done that. Oh, maybe we should do this. Maybe we should do, and also because it's rushed, you don't really have time to like stop and smell the roses and maybe go, oh well, we've reacted, we've got it. Let's just move on. But what do you reckon about this Mandalorian movie?
I think
were you surprised when you heard that? I mean, I know it sort of came out from nowhere, but you're just like, yeah, it makes sense.
No, I wasn't surprised. I was happy to see that it's being done. I think it's about time, because the Mandalorian, this story, and a lot of these characters who have their own Disney Plus shows and things like that need to be up on the same cinematic pedestal, if you will, as Luke, Leia, Han, Anakin, Obi-Wan, Padme. That needs to happen, and a new age in Star Wars needs to come out of this. So these two are well known, especially Grogu, very well known household names.
Yep.
Why not go with it? Yeah, I'm happy that it's being done. So yeah, let's do that, and link that in with whatever Filoni's going to be doing for his movie.
Mm-hmm.
I'm all for it.
More stuff,
Yeah, and that's like if you watch me on ATG Live or before that Force Connect, the one thing that whenever someone talks about something new coming on, my word is gimme. I like that. That's my opinion on anything as far as new Star Wars goes.
Yep.
Gimme. I'm not worried about is this taking over for this or that, or are they like what's going to be represented in this and all that kind of stuff. Like just gimme.
I'll pass judgment once I've seen it, and then even then,
yes.
And I've said this a few times. And I've mentioned Rise of Skywalker a few times, and it probably sounds like I'm poo-pooing the movie a little bit, and I didn't think it was amazing, but it's not the be all and end all, and especially because we get so much stuff now, you can just move on to the next thing. And it's not, you were just talking about, the dark days where there was no movies for so long, and for whatever reason, and you're waiting around, and I think you're probably similar to me, the mid to late 90s of just getting on the internet for the first time and going, there's like Star Wars news on the internet, and there's like leaks, and you're sort of scrapping for these little tidbits of things, and because we're just so hungry for something. Do you remember when you saw the Phantom Menace trailer? Did you go to the cinema? Did you go see Meet Joe Black to see the trailer?
Yeah, me and my best friend did. every release of a trailer, if it was on some movie we weren't going to see anyway, we would go. Meet Joe Black.
Was that what it was on?
Yeah. So we went and we saw it for Meet Joe Black, and we were pleasantly surprised. And the movie's not bad. Cool. They were like,
you hung around for the movie.
They said yes.
Yeah.
Because they showed it at the beginning, and then they're like, don't leave, because we were like about to get up and go. Like after that, but they were like, don't leave. We're showing it after the movie. We're like, all right, cool. So we stuck around. We endured the movie, which, like I said, it wasn't bad. And then they played it again, and we were so happy.
We got it.
So happy.
We definitely had. It was definitely. I don't know if it was on Meet Joe Black in Australia. And I don't even know if it came. It might have been a few days behind in Australia. But I remember looking in like the newspaper, because back then all the movie listings were in the newspaper, and it had like, see something with Star Wars trailer. Like it advertised on the thing, like the Star Wars trailer is on this, But I seem to remember that either I had no money or whatever it was, but they had, and I tried to. It must have been like one of the very, very earliest. Somebody with a video camera in a cinema. I tried to download somebody who had filmed it and put it online, and we're talking like a. I know we can't see this on a visual medium, but we're talking like a video screen about the size of a credit card here, like the screen, roughly. And we're on the dial up, and I was trying to get this thing down, could not get it down. And, as far as I could get like the first 2 seconds where the camera pans across the desert, you don't really see anything anyway. And that was all I could see. Mm-hmm. And then I remember in Australia, we used to get Entertainment Tonight, and they would show it, I don't know, in the middle of the night, 11 o'clock at night or 12 o'clock at night or something on Australian TV. And they were showing the trailer. And I remember I was going to be out that night. I was at a 21st birthday or a party or something. So I basically, before I left the house, I put the video cassette in the video player and just hit record and just let it run and just go, well, I'm just going to let it run. And then whenever I get home at whatever time, hopefully it's recorded Entertainment Tonight. So I got home from, I don't know, 2 a.m, probably way too many drinks, and then like sitting there at the end of my bed trying to like find, and that's where I saw the trailer for the first time. Was like on this little screen on the TV.
The first teaser where you see like the Gungans coming out of the mist, kind of thing,
with like Mary Hart or whatever at the start, going Star Wars, the Phantom Menace, blah blah.
I got that, and then I think the second, the Meet Joe Black was the second trailer.
Was that the one with the grass with the ships coming over the grass?
Yes.
I remember seeing that and going, that looks so real. That grass looks real. Yeah. Like, I don't know why I thought the grass wouldn't be real as opposed to the spaceship. But going like, look, the grass is moving.
It's amazing. We've never had grass like that in Star Wars before.
We probably hadn't actually. Oh no, Endor, you got a bit of grass. Yeah.
Endor, yeah. But I remember. For Meet Joe Black, we went, we saw it, we left. And I think it was going to be up on StarWars.com immediately afterwards or something like that. Or maybe like that weekend. Or there was like a premiere day for the trailer online. Yep. I remember having... Because internet was even 56K back then. For a file... And I think I still have the file that's like... Maybe like 2 megabytes. Maybe.
Yeah.
Maybe 2 megabytes or something like that. Took me... all night to download it, and I was just like, every time every little frame it hit, I was like, yes, just
so you getting every frame as it was going in.
It's amazing. Yeah.
Oh my god, kids don't know. Kids these days, they just don't know how good they've got it.
I have no idea. They don't.
You'll never get that back. Like it was the perfect. It was the perfect time. for a new Star Wars to come, because it was that sort of dawn of new technology, but it was still quite rudimentary enough where there was enough mystery still that you just couldn't quite get everything. And there were, and I'm not a spoilers guy, so I still avoided spoilers. You know, I didn't go and seek them out or anything like that, but there was still enough buzz and things, and, you know, like trailers and anything that was, you know, promotional stuff, you could see all that kind of stuff as well. But it was that sort of, it just looked so, I just remember it looking so new and like the same, but different.
It was very bright. It was very clean. Shiny, you know, of course, with the Naboo ships, and very clean. And we're like, wait, why does everything look so more advanced now than it did then? I'm like, well, you know, common sense kicked in. I'm like, oh yeah, okay, because it was made back in the 70s and early 80s. But you know,
how many times did you see Phantom Menace? Do you remember?
19 times.
I think I did 9 or 10. I thought that was pretty good.
Yeah. I had a sickness. if I were to quote Christopher Walken, I had a fever.
You had a fever.
My only prescription was more Phantom Menace. You know, I had to.
Does that work? Like, you know, the first night, I assume you probably went midnight. So
yeah,
was that just gathering your hardcore friends? You know, the ones who are going to do the midnight, doing that, or did you
see it with? Oh, I saw it with Tradition. Saw it with my brother.
Yeah. Nice.
We went to go see it, and I think I remember I sat out for tickets a week or two beforehand. Like, it was my job. Like, I was there for like 8 hours in line. You know, this is like the first, like this was pretty much like for me the first Star Wars celebration I ever went to, because there's nothing but hardcore Star Wars fans in this line.
Yeah.
We're all excited for it. We're all talking. We're playing Star Wars Trivial Pursuit. We're having all kinds of little trivia games and this and that and whatnot. And my brother would come around and bring me lunch and leave. You know, like, it was great. But yeah, that was a good time.
So was it just a matter of the next 18 times, either yourself or bringing in other people who are like, well, I don't need to be there at midnight. I'll go. Or, yeah, you know.
It was easy by myself, or like other like, you know, like friends from my childhood, and we go see it because this was like, you know, our thing when we were kids, going to watch Return of the Jedi in the theater. First time being able to go to the theater by ourselves at 8 years old. Yeah. You know, going to see the movie.
I got a few spare hours. I can duck down and watch Phantom Menace. And
Yeah. I remember my job was next door to a movie theater, or not next door, but like on the same stretch of road, like maybe like 5 minutes away. And I'm driving, and I'm just like, you know what? I don't need to be home right now. I could go and watch a little Phantom Menace real quick.
Pull in. Yeah, I think I saw, and I think the only thing that stopped me from seeing it, well, maybe it had done its run by then. I remember it being in the cinema for a long time, and I did the midnight thing as well, and I took a bunch of friends, and I don't think it was as hard to get tickets. We went to sort of an outer suburban shopping centre. You know, it wasn't like the big one in town or anything, so it was easy enough to get midnight tickets. I got there early, obviously, and just stood, and everybody sort of just came, you know, in line until we got our seats and stuff. But I remember towards the end of the 8th or 9th one, I had a friend who'd gone overseas, and I think it must have been like Bali or Indonesia or Bangkok or somewhere where they have all the knockoff or the bootlegs and things, and he'd got a bootleg. He got a bootleg copy of Phantom Menace on 2 discs. It must have been CD video as well, I reckon. So it was very low, shoddy quality, but I could watch it on my computer that's as wide as it is long. But I didn't. Yeah. But it wasn't set up like in my bedroom. I remember I had like my bed in one corner, and it's not like now where people have TVs on the wall or whatever, or you can help your laptop or your iPad. Like, my computer was over in the other corner, so I was like sort of sitting on the bed looking over in the corner of the monitor where the bed, and it wasn't particularly a great viewing experience. You know, it's not like it's particularly comfortable.
Still, you had it. Yeah.
Still had it. Yeah.
That is pretty much, to a degree, my Attack of the Clones story.
Hit me.
I saw it a week early.
Oh, really?
Yeah. And so my friends and I were driving through Philly, and my one friend is like bootleg king. Like, he just loved, like, you know, grabbing bootlegs and all that kind of stuff. So we stop at the spot where you know, he knows where the guy who sells bootleg tapes are. Mm-hmm. We go and we park. I'm like, I don't need anything, man. I'm good. Just go and have some fun. I'll be here in the car. I sat in the car and I just waited for them to get out.
Yeah.
So I'm sitting in the car waiting, and then my friend comes walking back towards me. He's got this insane look on his face.
Like he's seen something.
I'm like, yeah, and I'm like, what's your problem? And he's like, they've got episode 2. I'm like, no, they don't. Like,
hey,
what?
hey! I know Star Wars. That ain't it. I think I know when Star Wars comes out. Thank you very much.
Yeah. Like, that doesn't come out until next week. What are you talking about? He's like, I've got episode 2. I'm like, okay. Why don't you get it? We'll check it out. Like, I'm not believing a word of it.
Yeah.
He comes back and he shows me the case. The guy, it's just as best it can be done. Boom with the case. I'm like, we'll see about this. Went back to his place. We pop it in. Lo and behold, it's episode 2. And I was like, okay, all right. And we watched the opening crawl. I was like, we're just going to watch the opening crawl. That's it.
Yeah.
That's it. And put the tape away. And that's it. Next thing you know, the Clone Wars have started.
You're like, I cannot take a stand here. I cannot watch this in this condition. Mr. Lucas would not appreciate me doing this. I've got to see it in the cinema. Let's just wait one more minute, see what happens. Like, something's going to happen. This ship's landing. Like, it's blown up. We better see what happens here. All right.
We gotta have no. Oh, they're married now. Oh man. I felt terrible after watching it.
Man,
I felt terrible watching it nonstop that entire week before I went to the theater to go see it. I felt terrible.
What was the quality like? Like, was it? How does that?
It was bad, but good enough.
So,
if that makes any sense.
Did it give you any indication of where it had come from? Did it have like a running ticker on it? Did it have property of Lucasfilm on it? Or
did it? No, I don't remember. If it had the if it had the tickers on it or not. I don't remember. But I know that I went to the theater to watch this thing, and I already knew what was happening. So I was sitting in my chair, like,
You're just like, man, when do you see what he does to these sand people, man? It's going to be crazy.
They're like, what? Like, nothing. I've never seen this before. Sorry. No, but I of course I was going to go and see it, and I saw it. Like, I think, how many more times did I see Attack of the Clones in a theater? Less than Phantom Menace, but like not by much. If that makes sense.
But more than you might have, because the guilt's just ate at you. I got to watch this 4 or 5 more times just to wash the guilt, just to atone for my sins.
So I think 8 to 10 times I think I saw it in the theater.
Yep.
Attack of the Clones. But watching it that first time, I was just like, okay, let me see if there's any difference what I've seen, so I know maybe that was a different cut, or something like that. But I was like, oh no, it's the same thing. Wow, how did you get this?
How does that happen? Yeah, a week before, unless they get the prints at the cinema a week early, and they're just, you know what I mean? They'd run it to test. Yeah, I remember I was living in London when Revenge of the Sith came out, and for whatever reason, which was I still regret to this day, like the world premiere was at Leicester Square, like. Not that in the centre of London, which I was only, a good 20 minutes on the tube away, probably less. And for whatever reason, I just didn't go. Like, I'm like, oh, that's interesting. I don't know. In my head, it seems so ridiculous that I wouldn't have gotten down there and seen the stars of, episode 3. But whatever, I went and saw it midnight in London, and I only moved there a few months before, so I didn't know a lot of people. Like, I had made a couple of friends, but not like, hey, come see Star Wars at midnight with me, friends, I'll come and watch it with you the next day, friends, but not like midnight.
Yeah.
But I remember I got a bootleg of it probably the day after it came out, or maybe 2 days after it came out, and it wasn't like handy cam in the cinema. It almost looked like a digital rip.
A work print.
Yeah, it wasn't like the camera moving. It was clearly not. It was. I don't know where that, but it was in. I remember the other thing was it was in. 4:9. No, was it? What's the square aspect ratio? It was no widescreen. It was just like the,
4:3.
4:3, which was the style of the time because it was still 2005. And I remember then going like, I wonder where that came from. That's so weird.
Yeah.
So I still saw that at the cinema a few times, but not. And by then I'd had a better viewing experience. 2005 to 99 or whatever it was. We'd moved on a little bit from then.
Yes. Yeah.
So if you're walking down the streets of Philly, and for some reason, I don't know why this would even happen today, but there's a guy who approaches you and is like, "Hey man, you want to see that Mando and Grogu movie a little early? I got that Mando Grogu good stuff, mate. You want to watch it a month or two before release? Do you reckon would you do it out of curiosity, or would you feel like that you're still feeling the guilt?"
I would. No.
I'm just picturing a guy selling watches. Like he's got the jacket.
Yeah. I think I'd probably let me check online first before I go to some dude.
Yeah.
Anymore with that kind of thing. But
well, that would be the weird thing. Going how is this not on a torrent site rather than just some guy on a street corner?
Right, some dude. Yeah. Check the torrent sites first, but I don't
that
piracy. But
that big, the big leak was always that Wolverine movie. That the work print of the Wolverine movie, was it the X-Men Origins Wolverine that leaked? The work print of that leaked years ago.
Was it that or was it? Yeah.
And I watched that.
I saw that.
It's not much worse than the movie itself, and I'm saying that even though it's Australia's own Hugh Chapman, but yeah, just from a curiosity point of view,
the movie was not his fault. Movie was not his fault.
No,
at all.
But
yeah,
you can certainly see in this day and age why they lock everything down. There's a really fascinating thing on one of the Lord of the Rings. I think the Two Towers on one of the. I don't know how familiar you are with those DVDs. They had the box set and they had all the extras and blah blah blah. They had this thing about they were making the Two Towers and they were doing the post-production stuff and they were using Apple iPods at the time as basically portable hard drives to transport the movie around because it was quicker than trying to use a network. And one of the people had the whole movie on their iPod, and then they nearly got mugged in London, and they were just going imagine if all the Two Towers print had gotten out, 3 months before, and someone's just got an iPod looking for
so bad.
Yeah, just expecting to find some Queen albums on there or something, and then found the Two Towers in the thing. Geez, we're nearly out of time here. Time flies when you're having fun.
Yeah, man.
Acolyte, Skeleton Crew, Bad Batch Season 3. Bad Batch Season 3 is the thing, isn't it? They are going to do it. I've heard nothing.
Oh, yeah. There's been a trailer for it, and there are things that need to be answered, and I don't know if some people... I don't know about... That story is so important.
Oh, it's fantastic.
That Bad Batch story is so important. Not just that crew... because I've got ideas of what's happening to that crew. But just seeing what happens to the clones.
Yeah.
All that's really helping to shape the galaxy that we see when it comes to Andor and Solo and A New Hope and all that stuff. So
yeah.
I am so excited to see what happens next. Far as the group I'm sorry. Yeah.
Oh no, I was just gonna say it's the perfect. I know when it came out at the time, people were like Bad Batch. Do we really care about this? But it's no, it's the perfect story to follow the Clone Wars because it's just what happens to a people when when they're surplus to requirements, or they can't be. They're not gonna. They were created to do a certain thing and to believe a certain thing, and now that thing has changed, and it's just what happens to them? Do they do they all just get sent off to the puppy farm? The farm in the country and stuff. And yeah,
I remember. I think there was something in Star Wars Insider back in the day about people had questions what happens to the clones after the Empire's taken over. They're like, well, they stick around and some of them train, or they become stormtroopers, or they train other people to be as far as being stormtroopers go.
Yeah.
And some are sent off and they're sent on a retirement, a vacation or something like that. I'm like, oh, all right.
Yeah.
But yeah, what's happening right now is much more, it hits a lot harder, and it really cements the just how terrible the Empire is.
Yeah.
with what they're doing to them. Like in this second season for Bad Batch alone, like that one episode on the one snow terrain planet, and there was this it was a crosshair episode,
Mm-hmm.
and there was this one Imperial officer who, and this what he says hits home for me on an ancestral level, but when he said, I hate something about used equipment, calling clones equipment, calling them used equipment and whatnot, and like that hit home for me on a particular level because of my ancestry, coming up, being descendant of slaves, and it's like, I'm like, oh, just the care that they've taken as far as storytelling to put something like that in, and to really make the clones sympathetic, and because I know a lot of people hated them after Order 66, because they just turned, but there's so much more to it. That whole thing is so much deeper than we were led to believe at one point. And I just love the storytelling that they're doing there. And for what's happening for me, and this is the thing I've been saying for a while, as far as the Bad Batch team goes. I don't know. Do you read the Star Wars comics at all?
Most of them. I try to. The main line I try to stick to as much as I can.
So you've heard of Scar Squadron?
Yes. You
go.
reckon that's them?
Yeah. Or that's them, or that is, or whatever that one doctor, I keep forgetting his name, the creepy doctor, the cloning doctor. He is like taking, their DNA, that sort of thing, and making his own Bad Batch a more compliant Bad Batch, and that's Scar Squadron.
Yep. Yeah.
Because if you look at the dynamics of each of the the characters, you put them together. There's the big tank, you know what I mean. There's the brainy one. There's the tracker. There's the sharpshooter. All that stuff. It's all there. It's all there.
Yeah. I never thought of that. And it's just like throwing Omega in as well, which I think is a really fascinating character as well. Like
that's the big mystery for me. Like, what's going to happen with her?
Yeah. And I kind of, I don't know what's satisfying, and maybe it doesn't need to be satisfying. Maybe it's just like, like if she can use the Force, great. If she can't, whatever. If she joins the rebellion, great. If she goes off and has a life, she's like, you know what, I'm sick. Like, I'm just, whatever. It doesn't. Yeah, it's. You could continue with her, but I just. It's going to be a gut punch this last series. I think there's going to be, it's.
If they do a second series for Book of Boba Fett, after and if her. If her story is left in limbo after this third season, I would hope that she shows up at some point and meets her genetic brother. I hope that happens. I hope that happens.
Yeah. Bring it on. Give us more.
Yeah.
Bring it. Just pile it on.
Just give me. Just do it in my face. Give me all the Star Wars. Gimme. That's all I ask for.
Yeah. We don't ask for much. We had so little, and now we have so much. It's ridiculous, really, when you think about it.
Yeah. 8-year-old me would not. He wouldn't know what to do with himself with all this Star Wars.
Well, they just can't. Like it's, like I've got. Was it Christmas this year? And my cousin's son. My cousin goes, "Oh, you should talk to." You should talk to him. He loves Star Wars. Like he'd be good to have on your podcast. I'm like, yeah, I'll have a kid on the podcast. I don't care. We'll talk about Star Wars. And I just had a chit chat to him, but there's too much. He doesn't watch everything. He doesn't even seen all the original films and stuff. Like he's just like, I like Mandalorian and I like this. It's just too much stuff.
That's a fantastic perspective. I love it when there's people who are Star Wars fans, but either they haven't seen or like, Han, Luke, and Leia, or even Obi, Anakin, and Padme are not like, their base.
Yeah.
They're
the most interesting people to talk to.
That.
They're the most, I've had people on here on the show before of people going, oh, well, I saw the originals back in the day, and I had a friend going like, go home, watch Force Awakens, come on, and come and tell me what you think about it, And they don't live in this world. They've got no idea of what's going on. She's just like, oh, it was great. I can't believe this happened and this happened. And like, they're the more interesting people to talk to because one, they're just going off scant memories of things. And they're not laboring thinking of trying to second guess it or try to outsmart it or do any of that. And then we're sort of almost cursed by that because we're always thinking, well, obviously it's got to be this or this or this because of logic and canon and whatever else.
Yeah.
And that's probably a good 50 to 60%, maybe more, of like Star Wars audience just dip in.
Yeah.
Just the part-timers.
Yeah.
They're the ones that pay the bills. It ain't us. Apart from all those Black Series that we've got on our walls and stuff.
I mean, they've gotten, they are, Lucasfilm is making a lot of money off of me for sure. A good amount. Like I should be on the board of directors or something at this point.
You should just roll up and be like, hey, I saw Phantom Menace 19 times. And like, well, the CV, Chris, we've got to say, the CV is really impressive, man. You're a great content creator. You're passionate. You do a great Lando. You've got all this stuff. You've been going for years. But did you see Attack of the Clones 2 weeks before it came out? Is that true? That might be like, I'm sorry. You need to get out.
Like, damn it! I missed it.
I was so close. That's what all those angry YouTubers need to do. They need to find out that Kathy Kennedy watched a bootleg of Attack of the Clones 2 weeks early. That'll be the only grounds to get her fired. It's like, well, we can't find anything else. But
yeah, they'll make something up. You know how they are.
Up. Mate, thank you so much for taking the time to do this.
Thanks for having me, dude.
It's been a pleasure. You can come back anytime. I'll pass on your best to the Blue Bantha Milk Boys when I see them next. But please do tell people who don't know you and your stuff what you do and where they can find it.
Well, you can find me on the Broaxium, YouTube, Instagram, Twitter, TikTok, Facebook. I do comic books. Me and my team do Star Wars comics previews every week. Every week that a Star Wars comic comes out, we're previewing those books. We have a free-flowing Star Wars Plus a live show on Sunday nights called Shooting the Poodoo. We have a Star Wars Easy, as I call it, Star Wars Easy Listening podcast that comes out mostly bi-weekly, and that's from the Star Bros podcast, Ben and Jan, and those are great guys. We have a couple new shows coming out this year. One is called Brolacron, which is our Star Wars lore podcast. It's myself, Tommy Puig, Darth Chaco, Rick Villanueva from Jam Transmissions.
Love Rick. Shout out Rick.
Element 7. So we're about to start doing that. And we have a Nice Guys podcast, which is it's me and my buddy Mick. We used to work at a video store together, so it's us talking about all the movies that we loved watching at the video store when we should have been working.
Oh, nice.
So we do that. So there's that, and you can find us at Broaxium, BORAXIUM. You can find me at C Ryons 75, CRYONS number 75. You can find me on Instagram and Twitter under that handle. Yep.
You've got your own little empire going on here, mate. It's very impressive.
Trying.
Every day, working at it, working like a guy selling Attack of the Clones bootlegs on the corner.
Hey, that thing sold itself. He didn't have to work on that one.
No shit. Yeah, I'll bet. Well, thanks everyone for listening. Got the podcast. Going to still do the year in review one, hopefully next with Matt and Catherine when they come back. Working out some other guests, but hey, look, we'll get Chris back anytime he wants to come back. But thank you so much, mate. Yeah. See you soon.
Thank you. All right, guys.